How's it going everyone? Welcome to DoublePebble, and this is my first player review for FIFA Online 4. Obviously without the GM support, I can only review players that I can afford. So most likely I can only review above average to average players for now until at least it comes to the Singapore-Malaysia server when I have the GM support so that I can review more expensive players. Alright, now I feel that in FO4 stats are more accurate and more important than ever before, especially compared to FO3. So there are many stats in FO3 which I think we really can't feel the impact of, such as crossing, vision, reaction, positioning. All these things we sort of can feel it, but sometimes we can't feel it. But in FO4, all these stats really come back into play, which allow us to analyze each and every stat in more detail. Alright, so without further ado, we'll start off with the first ever player that I am reviewing in FO4, and the guy is none other than Karim Benzema. Alright, so unfortunately I cannot afford the NHD version, which is like 700k, but I am able to afford the S17 version. Alright, so let's now look at his stats. Okay, so these are the stats of Karim Benzema. He's 185 cm, 81 kg. Salary is basically how much cost you need to play him in your team for ranking. So maximum there's a cap like 100 and 200 points, I think. Okay, right. So first thing is you cannot expect crazy stats because this is still a new game, and then the stats are more normalized. Okay, so strength 74. I would say anything above 70 and below 80 is average, and then above 80 is good. Below 70 is considered below average, and then below 60 is bad, right? So strength wise, he's average. He's got average speed 73, average dribbling as well 76. His ball control is good, passing is good, finishing is also not the most clinical. We know the real Benzema is not the most clinical of striker. And then shoot power is 77, heading is 73. Okay, not the best header of the ball as well. His positioning is his main selling point, the highest stats 81. Reaction is good. Most striker must have quick reaction, and this is especially obvious in FO4 because if the striker's reaction is very slow, right, you can try. When you cross to him, sometimes he just stand still and stun one. So this is super important. Reaction penalty is decent. Vision is very high as well, 79, and crossing is only 70. Other stats such as balance is very low, very low, 57. Agility is average, 72, and short curve is 74. Right, composure is actually also very important nowadays because this decides how he performs under pressure. So for example, if he is in a box, he's under pressure from defender, the composure stats will ensure that he remains calm when he's under pressure from defender. So this is also especially important for all players. Actually, he has to have good composure. Right, in terms of, you actually don't have other hidden stats as well. So price wise, he's actually 300k, which might be expensive depending on whether you are a Thai player or a Singapore-Malaysia player. If you are a Korean player, he's dirt cheap anyway. Right, so let's now go into the in-game analysis to see if he's worth the EP, or is it BP now? Okay, so first thing we're gonna talk about is his positioning. Benzema screams positioning. Okay, in fact I believe this is the main selling point of Karim Benzema in FO4 because the stats mean so much more compared to FO3. So with his highest base stat of 81 for positioning, you really will see him appearing at the right place at the right time. If you are in the box, he will appear at the right place at the right time, and most of the time you will see him actually peeling away from the last defender and raise his hand to wait for the through ball. That is so important in FO4. Next we talk about is his ball control. His ball control is very good, and this is so important now for strikers because a bad first touch can mean losing control of the ball, letting the defender tackle if the ball gets too far away from your striker. And also if you are setting up for a shot, if you have bad control, maybe the angle of the shot is not that good. So it's so important now, and Benzema has very good ball control, which means that he can set up the ball in the correct position for him to have powerful shooting. His finishing is generally okay since after all he's a striker, so he will convert most chances. especially those very difficult ones like the cross-field driven shot, which bad strikers, which I had the benefit of using by force, they will scuff it one. So for Benzema, right, he still will scuff shots, and those shots are really ridiculous scuff shot, like those that really you shoot very powerful and then he just scuff the shots. It happens, but for Benzema it's not as often as maybe like a Nigel de Jong, okay? And that also applies to his heading. So his heading, right, because in FO4 the power header trait is not so important now because everyone can power header depending on how you press your shooting button. But I find that sometimes, right, his heading is really pretty atrocious. If he's literally in front of the goal line, right, he can still hit to the side one. Of course, it could be timing, it could be how I press, but I just feel that his headers are not at an elite level. It's good enough, especially at this start of the game whereby everything is new. It's good enough, but it's not at an elite level. Last thing that I'm going to talk about is his link up play. This is so important for strikers nowadays because you have to really hold the ball up and link up play with your midfielders, and Benzema is also very good at this because of his relatively high vision and his high passing stats. So from the highlights, you guys can see that many times, you know, he receives the ball, make a cute little pass for the on-rushing player, generally is my cam, Firmino, and then to let the midfielder score the goal. So this is very important link-up play, which Benzema excels in, alright? In terms of weakness, he's not exactly the fastest striker around, so pace might actually be a concern. But then again, 73 sprint and acceleration is generally higher than defenders. In this game, right, the defenders sprint for now at least is sometimes atrocious one. It's like 55 for a defender. So for a striker, 73 is generally fine. What I find is that he generally has no problem staying in front of defenders for a short distance, like maybe from the slightly further than the D area to the penalty area. That distance he generally is fine with staying in front. But if it is from a longer distance, like let's say from the center circle, there's a through ball and then he starts chasing, over that kind of distance he might get chased and caught out by defenders. So you really have to see when you should continue sprinting towards the box or when you should just shoot or even lay it off, right? Last thing is his lack of strength. Okay, he does get out muscled by defenders from time to time, although I have to say it's not as bad as, let's say, Gabriel Jesus, whom is super weak physically. So he is able to take some damage but not much, so you still should try to avoid taking damage with Benzema if you can. Alright, so overall I will rate Benzema, Karim Benzema, S17 Karim Benzema, an average all-rounder. So he is, like all we know, he can do almost everything, but he don't excel. He's like a jack of all trades but a master of none, okay? So in my opinion, he is a good first striker for you to buy if you are starting out FIFA Online 4, because of the fact that you are still developing your play style. You don't know whether you want to play a crossing style, you want to play a through ball style, or you want to mix it up. But he is somebody that allows you to learn your style because he can do anything. If you like the cross, he can score from headers. If you want to play through pass, he can stay in front of the defender. If you want to do other things, he probably can do as well. So he's a good starting player. Is he worthy? He's roughly 300k, which means that depending on your situation, if you are a Thai player that ports data over from FO3, you'll likely have a lot of BP, which means that he's considered cheap for you. If you are like a Singapore, Malaysia or other country player who basically starts fresh, he might feel expensive because 300k is quite difficult to get currently. But I just feel then again that he's a good stepping stone striker to have in your team when you are not that rich. Get him first as soon as you can, and then build your team around him. As you get richer, we'll upgrade to better and better striker, right? And that is all I have for this review video, my first FO4 review video. Let me know what you guys think, and also give this a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Click the subscribe button for more FIFA Online 4 review, and also do check out our Facebook fan page DoublePebble. The link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.